Now, in these lines, poet says that ocean is the mirror of Almighty. Ocean, in ocean, we see the reflection of God. Okay, and God reflects Himself in tempests and storms. And now, poet says that in all times, sometimes He is calm, sometimes disturbed, sometimes a gentle breeze, sometimes a stormy wind is blowing on the sea. Okay, sometimes, and obviously near the poles, ocean is frozen, and on the equators it is dark and there's a hot climate. In all states the sea is boundless, endless, and sublime, and we see the reflection of God, the image of eternity, because ocean is immortal, and ocean is the throne of invisible God. Okay, and then he says, from the mud of the ocean sea monsters are born. Okay, and each zone obeys the ocean, and ocean goes forth, okay, dreadful, unmeasurable, and alone. Okay, then come to the next lines. So in the next line, poet says that he has loved the ocean, he has enjoyed, the company of the ocean, and when he was young he would play with the waves of the ocean. Okay, and he considered himself born out of the ocean like a bubble. And then he says that he played with the waves of the ocean, and it brought him happiness at the time. Okay, and although he also sometimes he got scared with the intensity of the waves, but it was a kind of pleasing fear. Okay, because he considered himself to be the child of the ocean, and he trusted the strong waves of the ocean, sometimes far and sometimes near to him. And then he compares the waves of the ocean to lion's neck. So when he places his hand on the waves of the ocean, he compares this experience with placing the hand on lion's neck. Okay, so here he compares ocean with the lion because of its fierceness, because of its intensity. Okay, now come to the next lines. So in this stanza, poet says that my task is done. So he says that my work is done now, my song has stopped, and his theme has died into an echo. So he has lost his inspiration. And now, obviously, he says that the charm of this prolonged dream is going to end. Protracted means this prolonged dream, the charm, the happiness which he has been feeling is, going to end. The torch shall be extinguished which had lit. So the torch, now basically is talking about the inspiration that is gone now. My midnight lamp has been extinguished, and what is written is written. So whatever has been written is written, and would it were worthier. So it doesn't matter to him whether it is worthier or not. But I'm not now that which I have been, and my visions flit. Now he says that his visions are fleeting and fainting before him, and the glow which in my spirit dwelt is fluttering faint and low. So the vision of his imagination is not the same as it was before, and now he's losing his imagination. The power of his imagination is, fluttering, is fainting. Okay, is fainting and getting weakened. Okay, and now come to the last stanza. Here, poet is bidding farewell to the ocean, and he says that obviously he needs to say this now because he's going to end his poem. And he says that this is the sound, like he's basically referring to this word farewell. So he said that this is the farewell which makes us linger, which makes us to take us some pause for a moment. Yet farewell ye who have traced the pilgrim to the scene which is his last. So now he says that the pilgrim, obviously he has called the poem's name as pilgrimage. So now he says that his pilgrim is bidding farewell. Okay, and this scene is his last scene. And then he says, your memories dwell a thought which once was his, if on ye swell a single recollection, not in vain. Now he says that if somebody remembers something about the poet or about the speaker of the poem, then his efforts won't be, won't go in vain. Okay, won't prove futile. He wore his sandal shoe. Now, basically, he makes reference to this pilgrim who is standing on the seashore, who is wearing, who is wearing the sandal, and the shell is there on his cap. Okay, and this pilgrim, who is poet himself, is bidding farewell to the ocean, and he says that let the pain remain with the poet, and people just need to understand the moral of the poem. Okay, and what is the moral of the poem? What is the moral of the poem? The moral of the poem is that basically Byron was disheartened because of the wars that were going on at the time and the destruction which was brought by the tyrants at the time. So basically, this is the moral of this poem. He says that man is helpless before nature. Man cannot do anything to control nature. Okay, so he can control the things which he can control, but he is helpless before nature, then the destruction which is brought by nature. So here the poem ends.